If you come with me, you'll float too. You'll float too, you'll float too, you'll float too, you'll float too! Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever and whenever you are. This is Cameron Mills, and today I've got a movie review for you. It, the remake of a 1990 miniseries originally based off the book It by Stephen King. Now, back in 1980, we saw the original The Shining. And then in 1997, we saw the miniseries. 17 years later, something like that. Now it's kind of the opposite with this. We saw the miniseries, and later we saw the movie. Now, just like with The Shining, the movie's a hell of a lot better. Now, the plot of it is basically that there are a group of young kids, sort of like middle school age, maybe young high school, and they're all being stalked by this demented clown, and they all kind of group together to try and stop it before, it kills more kids, kidnaps more kids, whatever you want to say there. So they all kind of band together to do this. Now, this is kind of like a coming-to-age story and just like a loss of innocence story. It's pretty similar to Stand By Me, only this time, it's a pretty disturbing horror movie. Now, the first question to ask is really, is this a scary movie? Is it a genuine horror movie? And yeah, I would say it is scary. There are definitely a lot of scary moments, but honestly, it's more disturbing than it is scary. There's a lot of disturbing shit in this movie, damn. My brother doesn't watch too many horror movies, was actually afraid to go to sleep and had to sleep with our dog. Yeah. I wouldn't say it's quite that disturbing, but it definitely does have a lot of moments like that. One thing that I really love about this movie is the fact that you can kind of feel it. You can feel just the vibe and the atmosphere and just the sense of reality that all these kids are put in. And it's a very scary thing. I think that's what really makes it scary, is just knowing these are young kids, and just knowing what happened from the opening scene that we saw, knowing that can pretty much happen to any of these kids. It's just a very scary thing. Just thinking about that whole just reality that this could happen to them at any moment, and you really feel like you're immersed into the movie, and you feel like Pennywise the clown is gonna kill you. One thing that really does a great job with this is the use of music and sound effects. All the jump scares are set perfectly timed with the music, and whoever the composer was for this, I couldn't find it anywhere, but whoever the composer was did a very great job with that, because I think that was one of the best parts of it, was just the music, and the soundtrack was just perfect for it. The score was just perfectly fitting for every moment in this movie. Now, going back to the whole scared thing, I saw this with one guy and two girls. Now, the two girls, yeah, they jumped at everything, what would you expect? But, and then me and the other guy, we just kind of sat there But then the woman to the left of us, a few seats over, holy shit. Sometime in the middle of the movie, she screamed so loud that I'm not even joking, the hairs on my arm vibrated. They vibrated. That scared me more than anything in this movie. I don't get scared with horror movies, I do get scared, in my head, I'm oh shit, but I don't actually jump at anything. But her, damn woman, she screamed so loud, I jumped that time, I actually jumped. And the hairs vibrated. One thing I really liked about this movie was the kids in it. All the actors were great. You don't find a lot of child actors. I would say, child acting they were perfect in the 80s and 90s. Child actors, they did a great job back then. But nowadays, you don't find a whole lot of good child actors. Now, one exception to that is Stranger Things, which one of the kids from that show was actually acted in this, which I thought was really cool. But the acting of all the kids in this was great. And they honestly, the way that, since this movie takes place in the 80s, and all the actors are, acting in something that takes place in the 80s, they all felt like that they belonged straight out of that time period. The movie looked like it could have, besides modern effects and that sort of thing, it looked like it could have been made in the 80s. Just the way that they designed everything and the way that the kids just acted, I wouldn't be surprised. It felt very genuine. And I loved all the kids in this because they brought great comedic relief to it. One character in particular, if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about, but a lot of the characters just did a really great job with this. Because it is a scary movie at times, it is a horror movie, but it was also very funny without trying too hard to be funny, which I really appreciated that, because that's something I hate, is when you try to put comedic relief in something and it just doesn't exactly work out because it's too forced. One example is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, even though it's not a horror movie. But yeah, overall this is actually a hilarious movie at times, which you wouldn't expect, but it's all because of the jokes, and the writers of this did a perfect job of balancing out the horror and the comedy. Now, the setting of this town is something I kind of maybe mentioned a little bit, but not really. It is Derry, what's the state? I have no clue what the state was, but the city was called Derry. And the whole entire setting looks very genuine, as I already said, as looking like it's out of 1989. And I think that they did a good job really developing the city. Like, the city is almost like a character. Like, this whole movie has great character development, but the city just, you really understand exactly how the city worked, what the people are like. You know, you see the bullies, the really fucked up bullies. You see all that, and you kind of see like how this town works, like how people are like, you know, the cops, the parents, all that, and how the kids are kind of just on their own here. And I thought it was really cool because like from very early on in the movie, you get a great sense for what this town is, what's wrong with this town, and what's lurking in the sewers beneath this town. But all the people and all the characters in this movie really had great character development, and you really see them change over time and kind of face their fears, which was a really cool thing. The pacing in this movie was great. A lot of horror movies do a really bad job when it comes to pacing, but it did a fantastic job. From the opening scene, the very, very disturbing opening scene, till the end of the movie, every scene is needed, every scene is necessary, and for being like 2.5 hours long, it's crazy because like it does feel like it's 2.5 hours long, but it also feels like so much happens and there's no dull moments. Like everything feels like it's necessary, which I loved that about it. Now let's go talk about the opening scene for a second. The opening scene, you know, is Georgie in the sewer. As you could probably assume what happens to him. Now the original, you know, they didn't show much here, but in this one, holy shit, that was horrifying. That was the one scene in the movie where my eyes were just like, you know, it's the opening scene and I'm like, okay, yeah, here we go, all right. Like, it was just crazy. Like, I knew from that moment forward, like, this is gonna be a twisted movie in a lot of ways, but yeah. But I would say this was the best opening scene I've ever seen in a horror movie since Scream, hands down. I would say it's better opening scene than Scream, but that was the last time I really saw a horror scene that was done so well and really pulled you into the movie and got you hooked like that. So I think that was amazing. My final thoughts on it. It is a fantastic remake. It does a great job of following the book as far as I know. I have never read the book, but I do plan on it. It's got great reviews right now, you know. It does a good job of balancing horror, comedy, having great character development, scaring you when it needs to, making you laugh when it needs to. And it's a really cool film, and I just thought it was a very good horror movie because you don't see a lot of great horror movies anymore. And just because of the way that Pennywise the Clown was done and how great the performance of the clown was alone, which is something I haven't talked about yet, that whole thing alone, just the way that the clown acted and the way that they were played by Alexander, was it Skarsgard? Is that how you say it? That alone, I think it's like the 6th time I said that alone. But that alone is why I'm going to give this movie an A. Yeah, it was that good. Let me know down in the comments what you thought. Another question I have is, what is your favorite Stephen King movie? Mine will always be The Shining, but this is definitely a close second, with Stand By Me being third. Anyway, we can't go down the whole entire list. I want to know what your favorite Stephen King movie adaptation is. Let me know down in the comments. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Check out my social media links. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. That really helps me out, and I really appreciate it. Once again, thank you for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day.